Oh no, not again.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal. Suddenly you kissed my wife. Baby, my heart's on fire.
Bumblebee, is there any hope that they'll stop remaking this figure? Apparently not, because now there's Studio Series 86 Deluxe Bumblebee. This one purportedly based on Bumblebee's appearance in the 1986 animated film, which was the same animation model they used for the original animated series, where it all began. See the Studio Series box with angry, in-your-face Bumblebee artwork rushing at you. Poke the figure through the non-existent window and see all the empty space they're making you pay for. See angry linebacker Bumblebee again on the side panel. Then see photos of both modes on the back, along with his equally dinky bio. Reading, Bumblebee is saved from the ascetic insides of Unicron when Daniel Witwicky comes to the rescue. So even in that movie, Bumblebee is a total load. Enjoy the close-up of him saying, "Ah," on the other side panel. Now let's get this Bumblebee out of his box and throw him on the pile along with all the other Bumblebee figures.
Oh, I'm afraid he couldn't be here.
Out of box, Studio Series 86 Deluxe Bumblebee comes with his instruction booklet and a silver-painted pistol gun accessory. And there's also the standard Studio Series-style interior sleeve diorama. This one set up to look like the interior of Unicron's gullet. And this is Bumblebee in his alt mode. What exactly is supposed to set this figure apart from the many, many, many other Bumblebee figures? Well, this one is supposed to more closely follow the animation model. Whenever anyone asks what Bumblebee turns into, they usually answer, "Why, he turns into a VW Beetle, of course. What kind of stupid question is that?" But the thing is, his original Generation 1 alt mode isn't a VW Beetle, and never really was. It just kind of looked like one. Even the Generation 1 animation model only vaguely resembled the sporty VW Coupe, being much more angular on the show and in the movie. Studio Series 86 Bumblebee seems to blend the animation model with the figure to form a middle-of-the-road amalgamation. Thankfully, the transformation seams aren't nearly as pronounced as they were with Legacy Transformers animated Bumblebee, nor spoiled or broken with any needless 5mm ports. The car is yellow with black windows, which is a departure from the show and the movie, where he was depicted with powder blue windows to simulate a glassy appearance. Thankfully, there doesn't seem to be any transparent plastic to worry about, so all the yellow plastic matches from panel to panel. Autobot badges are on the roof and the hood, the rear tires are larger than the front, and they have silver-painted hubcaps, which helps to disguise the aluminum pins, which hold them in place. There's decent heft for the size, I suppose. Turn them over and you can discern the legs and the arms, but otherwise the robot parts are well hidden, and there isn't much hollowness. There's a small slot just above the rear bumper where you plug in the pistol accessory for storage. And he rolls pretty well given how thin the tires are. At least they don't wobble much. But as with Legacy Transformers animated Bumblebee, the Studio Series 86 offering is quite small. It's supposed to be a deluxe, but it's not much larger or heavier than Transformers Legends Bumblebee, or Generation 1 Bumblebee, or even Legacy Core Bumblebee, with all of them fairly well dwarfed by Classics Deluxe Bumblebee. Price point, my fleshless fanny. But it does closely resemble the VW Beetle, which isn't a VW Beetle, shown in the animation models, which is the entire point of the Studio Series 86 line, and makes him a solid, very little deluxe. Transforming to robot mode may seem complicated through the instructions, but it's actually not that bad. The rear section of the car tabs into the back, just behind the windows. Using these tabs and grooves, you clamp it together when transforming to alt mode, pull them apart, and angle the whole thing back on these hinges. It's a bit stiff, but pull this hinge outward until it's standing up straight, then swing down the roof of the car like a drawbridge. Fish the robot head out from inside the car's body. There's a secondary hinge on the inside of the other hinge. It swivels up and then both of those hinges clamp together, then reclamp the car roof back in place. Going to the back of the car, you see the robot arms dangling underneath. They tab together, untab and pull them apart. Then you can swivel out these side tires, rotate and invert them. With all this part splayed out like a T, it's usually easiest to go ahead and unfold the legs from inside the car hood. Don't do it all the way just yet. Just give yourself enough clearance that you can use this hinge underneath the front windshield to angle the entire roof section upward. That, in turn, will give you clearance to go behind the car, rotate the rear tire section so that they are inside the car's body. There are also these tiny little teeth on the inside of the hinge that will click in place and let you know once that step is complete. Behind the robot head, you will see this indentation, which corresponds with this tab inside the car. Angle that hinge down and tab it into place. Then just straighten out the robot arms. Just above these car wheels, you will see this indentation, where these tiny tabs near the car rear windshield angle down and tab in place to form Bumblebee's backpack. Turning your attention back to the front of the car, these front sections near the bumper fold and rotate up, and continue to rotate them until they are hidden completely and the robot shins are sticking up. Then you straighten up the robot knees, separate the feet. Going to the back, there's some folding you need to do. These little black tabs flip up from the inside of the feet. These black slats fold down, and with them folded down, you hinge and clamp shut the back of the leg. Your first instinct will be to try to push it until it's flush with this section here, but don't do that because it won't work. It's only designed to go back this far, but continue folding these black slats until they tab together underneath the foot. And that completes the transformation. Comparing the robot mode to the animation model will always result in disappointment, because that model depicted Bumblebee with chunky thighs and shins, which couldn't possibly squeeze into the car hood in reality. Toy versions of Bumblebee will always have feet that are awkwardly huge, and legs that are thin and spindly. But other than that, they did a decent job of pulling the movie version of Bumblebee into an action figure. The upper body is a much better match than the lower. The colors are still black and yellow, which seems to have been a conscious choice for the designers, since the cartoon movie version had dark gray legs and upper arms. But the curiously shaped head with devil horns is well represented. The figure is engineered such that everything unfolds nicely to form the robot, and everything looks proportional except for the huge feet. And his ponderous backpack, being in robot mode, hasn't opened up any additional 5mm ports. But he can hold the pistol weapon in either hand, or remount it onto his back. They concealed most of the hollowness, except for inside the robot feet, which you can look into from underneath, but which seems solid enough from almost every other angle. Studio Series 86 Bumblebee has a ball-socketed rotating head, but the socket is so tight you can only manage a slight waggle back and forth. Each shoulder is ball-socketed for a full rotation and can splay outwards. There's an upper bicep swivel. The elbows are hinged for a 90-degree rotation. The fists will swivel in their sockets. Full 360-degree waist rotation. The legs will kick forwards this far, and backwards about this far before the parts crashing starts. The hips will kick outwards, upper thigh swivel, a 90-degree bend at the knee, and the ankle pivot is at the end of the shin, instead of at the base of the foot. Employ one of the transformation hinges, and you can get a backward tilt on the ankle. So for the size, you can get a fair range of motion out of him for a decent array of action poses. As far as Bumblebee can be considered an action hero.
Oh, I'm afraid he couldn't be here.
At a little less than 4 inches. Here is Studio Series 86 Deluxe Bumblebee, next to Studio Series 86 Core Class Spike Witwicky with Exosuit. Here is Studio Series 86 Deluxe Bumblebee, next to the real 86 Generation 1 Bumblebee. Here he is standing next to Netflix Deluxe Bumblebee, still smaller. Transformers Animated Activators Bumblebee, and next to Legacy United Deluxe Transformers Animated Bumblebee with Thunder Crash and Slitherfang.
Oh, I'm afraid he couldn't be here.
Fans of Bumblebee as a character should get a thrill knowing this movie-based figure is available. Those who are sick of a seemingly never-ending parade of Bumblebee figures will ignore it. Positives, It's got mostly screen-accurate appearance, strong colors, a gun accessory which the original toy never had, good articulation, and a transformation that is pretty quick to get used to. Negatives: not all the colors match the on-screen depiction. There aren't many options to accessorize the robot or alt modes. The transformation can be fiddly your first time through. The feet look a little too big, and the legs look a little too thin. And for a deluxe, it's still too small for my taste. Some may strain gnats over him being in scale with other figures and the movie, but since when has Hasbro ever really worried about scale? This figure is good as is, but it could have been great if it was just a bit larger. Despite the extra engineering, Studio Series 86 Bumblebee isn't really worth the full price of a deluxe. Pick it up on sale if you can, and you'll find the experience much more agreeable. I give Studio Series 86 Deluxe Bumblebee 7 out of 10 deaths. I wonder if that makes this the happiest day of his life.
This is the happiest day of my life!
If you refuse me, honey, you lose me, then you'll be left alone, oh baby, tell them all, and tell me I'm your own.